We are learning new and disturbing details tonight about the extent of alleged educator sexual misconduct at Indian Springs School. As our On Your Side investigation found, one of the former faculty members alleged to have engaged in the misconduct worked for both the school and a Birmingham church, where the church now says he may have been using participation in their choir as a way to foster relationships with students. Indian Springs School started looking into allegations of sexual misconduct by faculty and staff in December of 2017 and first reported the results to students and alumni in this June 18th letter. At the time, the school said its independent law firm found 5 former faculty members, quote, allegedly engaged in educator sexual misconduct. That could include soliciting sex, grooming students, or having sex with students. The report named 3 of the educators. One of those had been fired in 2013 when the allegations surrounding him first came to light. The report didn't name the other 2, but for one said investigators found, quote, credible support for a conclusion that a long-standing faculty member engaged in educator sexual misconduct with students while at Indian Springs. It goes on to say this faculty member, quote, was accused by several former students of grooming, inappropriate texting and communications, solicitation of sex, and a sexual relationship. The report says Indian Springs wasn't aware of the inappropriate behavior, that this faculty member declined to be interviewed by investigators, and is now prohibited from returning to Indian Springs. A week after this Indian Springs report came out, First Presbyterian Church in Birmingham sent this letter to members explaining why their director of music resigned. The letter says the church learned in late February that Dr. Tim Thomas, who was the longtime choral director at Indian Springs, was the subject of the Indian Springs investigation. The church says it met with Dr. Thomas the day it learned of this investigation and told him they were launching their own, putting him on immediate leave, and that he would be fired if they found credible evidence. They say Dr. Thomas chose to resign and asked them to tell the congregation it was for personal reasons. But now, 4 months later, the church said it had, quote, credible information that leads us to believe he did engage in sexual misconduct with students. The church says it didn't know about this at the time and doesn't think it happened on church property, but did say, quote, he most likely used participation in our choir as a way to foster those relationships.
It's very sad to hear all of that, because I know as a professional he very much cared about his music, and he was very proud of his choir. So this is obviously a side to him that I didn't know and didn't expect.
This former Indian Springs choir member asked to remain anonymous, but says she's been floored by what she's learning.
You know, if I had been a parent at the time and, you know, all this had come out and my child had been in the choir, I would be horrified.
Dr. Thomas won the school's Outstanding Alum Award in 2016, but the school website now doesn't list a winner for that year. Indian Springs sent 2 more letters in August, then October, revealing more allegations against former educators. The school says it's putting in new procedures, including giving mandatory training on recognizing the signs of educator sexual misconduct to all faculty and staff, and will require it annually going forward, enhancing the background checks for faculty, staff, and adults living on campus, and implementing an anonymous reporting system. Do you feel like they have done enough?
I don't think you can ever do enough, personally. You know, these are serious allegations. You know, these are kids that were hurt. And so as a community and as a school, I think being as transparent as possible is so important. And I'm sure they could do more.
Was too much trust put in the faculty as a matter of institutional control?
Probably. Nowadays, I think we need to watch our kids carefully, and especially after all of this, you know, I think that perhaps, yes, too much trust.
We reached out to First Presbyterian, who confirmed that letter's authenticity and also told us more people have come forward to them since they sent that letter out to the congregation back in June. The church says they have consulted their attorneys but have not contacted law enforcement. Indian Springs School referred us to those letters they sent to alumni when we asked some follow-up questions this week. Those letters say they have reported the allegations, quote, to the proper legal authorities. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office says they don't have any ongoing investigations related to faculty or staff at Indian Springs.